in case he were to leave?
Oscar Piastri. so
If you think McLaren's rise means calm waters ahead, think again. Behind the smiles and podium celebrations, team boss Zak Brown is losing sleep. And the reason? 2 words: Max Verstappen. Because the reigniting world champion isn't just dominating the grid, he's potentially about to flip it on its head. A quiet but dangerous shift is forming, and all signs point to Mercedes. But while Red Bull tries to contain the fire and Mercedes quietly builds for 2026, McLaren, one of F1's fastest rising threats, is watching with increasing alarm. And Zak Brown is now speaking out, not just about Verstappen leaving Red Bull, but about the nightmare scenario: Max Verstappen driving for Mercedes. Let's break down what's got Zak Brown panicking, why the Verstappen-Mercedes rumors have exploded again, and how this one move could dismantle everything McLaren is trying to build. Let's start with the obvious. Red Bull is imploding. Internally, the team is fractured. From the power struggle between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko to the looming doubts over their 2026 engine project with Ford. Zak Brown sees this, and he knows the writing on the wall. In an interview with the Planet F1, Brown delivered what sounded more like a warning than a casual observation. If Max was to leave, I think that would be a bit of a disaster for Red Bull. Planet F1. Let that sink in. Zak Brown is publicly calling Max Verstappen's exit from Red Bull a disaster, not a setback, but an existential threat to Red Bull's dominance. But it's what comes next that reveals his real concern. Zak Brown continued saying, "I think Mercedes is a team on the rise, but Max in a Mercedes is pretty uncomfortable to think about because he's awesome." Also from Planet F1. That word, uncomfortable, speaks volumes, because this isn't just about Red Bull losing their star. This is about McLaren, a team finally clawing its way back into contention, suddenly staring down the barrel of Verstappen in silver. Zak Brown's message is clear. Mercedes with Verstappen is a combination that could wreck everyone else's plans, including his. So why is this all coming to a head now? Because in true F1 fashion, the clues aren't in press conferences. They are in flight logs, yacht trackers, and whispers from the marina. Earlier this summer, rumors exploded across the internet. Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff have been seen together privately off the coast of Sardinia. Not at a race, not during an official event, but at sea. 2 yachts, one registered to Verstappen, one to Wolff, anchored less than 100 meters apart. And the story got traction when F1 insider Ralf Schumacher was quoted telling news.com.au, 2 yachts not far from each other. One belongs to Toto Wolff, the other to Max Verstappen. It's possible they had a coffee together. You don't need a PR degree to understand what a coffee really means in F1 terms. That's not small talk, that's power brokering. And as news.com.au put it, there's no coincidence. The map detail didn't lie. GPS positioning showed Verstappen's yacht drifting in formation with Wolff's. This wasn't tabloid speculation, it was physical evidence. And Zak Brown, ever the strategist, knows what that means. Let's be real. Zak Brown doesn't rattle easily. He's turned McLaren around through tough calls, bold sponsorships, and aggressive driver choices. But Verstappen at Mercedes is different. It's the one driver he can't compete with. And worse, it's the one driver he can't sign. Zak has placed all his chips on Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and for good reason. Their chemistry, speed, and growth have made McLaren the fastest improving team on the grid. But that pairing, no matter how talented, could be completely eclipsed if Mercedes pairs Verstappen with a fully mature 2026 engine and the momentum of a factory-backed rebuild. Zak admits as much. He doesn't want Max at Mercedes, not because it's unfair, but because it's unbeatable. Zak is quoted telling Planet F1, "I think I'd rather he stay where he is." That's not confidence. That's fear dressed up as diplomacy. So what exactly makes 2026 so critical? It's not just the end of Red Bull's dominance, it's the beginning of the engine revolution. Red Bull Powertrains is venturing into uncharted waters with Ford. They're building an entirely new power unit from scratch, with no historical engine base. A bold move, but bold doesn't mean safe. Meanwhile, Mercedes is preparing quietly. Their 2026 power unit project is already well underway. They're not chasing headlines, they're engineering a future. And Verstappen knows this. Why stay and gamble on a new Red Bull Ford engine when Mercedes offers a proven infrastructure, deep pockets, and a clear shot at legacy? Zak Brown sees this same calculation and it terrifies him. If Max goes to Mercedes, it changes everything. Suddenly, McLaren's steady rise gets blunted. Their progress isn't just about performance, it's about positioning. They want to be the challenger in 2026. The main threat, the hybrid of underdog grit and elite engineering. But if Verstappen joins Mercedes, that narrative vanishes overnight. McLaren becomes just another contender trying to punch above its weight. It's why Zak Brown's warning feels more like a plea. Planet F1 has him saying, "I think Mercedes is a team on the rise, but Max in a Mercedes is pretty uncomfortable." He's not just scared of Red Bull collapsing, he's scared of what comes after. Let's not forget, F1 is as much politics as performance. The optics of Verstappen leaving Red Bull, the team that made him champion, would send a message. The king has abandoned the castle. And if that king marches into Mercedes' headquarters, it would be the most symbolic coup in modern F1 history. Toto Wolff would get the last laugh, Christian Horner would be politically ruined, and teams like McLaren would be forced to reckon with the Mercedes-Verstappen empire that could dominate another decade. Zak Brown isn't just trying to compete on the track, he's trying to hold the power structure in place, because once Max moves, the whole system resets. This isn't just a silly season rumor, it's a seismic fault line running through the grid. From secret meetings in Sardinia, to coded language in podcasts, to the very public discomfort of Zak Brown, everything points to one thing. Verstappen is considering a new throne. And if that throne is silver, everyone else is in trouble. Especially McLaren, because for all their momentum, their unity and their future potential, there's one truth Zak Brown knows better than anyone. There's no stopping Max Verstappen when he's in the right car. And if that car is a 2026 Mercedes, McLaren might be looking at another decade in the rearview mirror. But we want to know what you think. Is Max Verstappen really going to leave Red Bull? And if he does, is Mercedes the only team that can handle him? Please let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more insane videos from the F1 Racing Newsroom.